In this special topic, we will be discussing about non-relational databases. So, non-relational databases, also known as NoSQL databases, are databases that do not use the tabular schema of rows and columns, which is usually used in relational database management systems, that is RDBMSs. So, to this end, they do not require any predefined schema, thus they help you process unstructured data more easily. Now, since this type of databases do not require a predefined schema, as mentioned before, they use other data representations for storing and accessing data, such as documents, key value pairs, graphs, time series data stores, columnar data stores, object data stores, and other representations. So now let's see some benefits of NoSQL databases. One benefit is that this type of databases is suitable for storing and accessing big data. Now, the term big data is used for characterizing huge volumes of both structured and unstructured data. To this end, NoSQL databases are typically faster than RDBMSs when processing big data. Another benefit is that NoSQL databases simplify the software creation process since developers do not actually need to define the database schema prior to developing the application. Another benefit is that usually this type of databases, that is NoSQL databases, are open source, and this usually helps when it comes to reducing operational costs that have to do with licensing. Now, besides the benefits of using NoSQL databases, there are also some disadvantages. So, one such disadvantage is that NoSQL databases are not fully compatible with the structured query language, that is SQL. So, SQL is a well-established query language, and by the time NoSQL databases are not fully compatible with this language, make it a little bit difficult to use a universal language for accessing the data stored in NoSQL databases. So this leads to another disadvantage, that is the lack of standardization, since this type of databases, NoSQL databases, is considered relatively new. So one such example that have to do with the lack of standardization when it comes to NoSQL databases is that query languages for NoSQL databases differ across different NoSQL database implementations. Another point that can be considered as a disadvantage has to do with the fact that RDBMSs are considered more mature since, as a technology, they have been around for over than 40 years. So now that we have discussed about the advantages and disadvantages of NoSQL databases, it is natural for everyone to have the question which database type to use, NoSQL or SQL database, that is RDBMSs. Well, the answer is relatively simple. It depends on the type of data you want to store and process. So if, for example, your data is well structured, then I would recommend using an SQL database, that is an RDBMS. In a different case, however, and that is the case where you have different types of data, so that means that you can have structured data, different types of unstructured data, and you want to store and process all these types of data together, then you should consider using a NoSQL database implementation. So in the end of the day, it always depends on the type of data when it comes to deciding which database implementation to use, NoSQL or SQL. Now let's conclude this lecture by taking a look at some popular NoSQL databases. So some examples of NoSQL databases are MongoDB, Redis, Cassandra, Amazon DynamoDB, Apache HBase, Azure Cosmos DB, and many others.